Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we start Unit 8 UN System, Peacekeeping, Peacemaking and Adjudication. And we are continuing our topic Peacekeeping, Peacemaking and Peace Building in Practice. And our country is Yugoslavia. The problem faced in Yugoslavia from 1990 to 2000 were varied and traumatic. Yugoslavia before its disintegration consisted of six republics: Siberia, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Macedonia, and two autonomous regions, Kosovo and Vojvodina. The population is multi ethnic. Slovenia had predominantly Slovenes, but there were minorities of Serb, Croats, and Hungarians. Croatia had Serbs who were concentrated in two areas. In Serbia, two-thirds were Serbs, but the autonomous Kosovo and Vojvodina were parts of Serbia, and Vojvodina had a Hungarian minority. Kosovo had local Albanian 91%. In Montenegro, besides Montenegrins, there were Muslim and Albanian, constituting one-third of the population. Bosnia-Herzegovina had Muslim population of 40%, 32% Serb, 18% Croats, and the rest others. In Macedonia, 20% were Albanian, 67% Macedonian, and the rest were minorities. Presidential Council headed the federal government of Yugoslavia, and the chairmanship of it circulated among the presidents of six republics. In December 1990, in Slovenia, 85% of people voted for independence. About same time, Croatia declared the supremacy of the Croatian law over the federal law. Negotiations for preserving the federation failed as the Serbs insisted on a fight federation, while others desired to lose federal system. In May 1991, the majority of voters in Croatia opted for independence. At this stage, the US, European Community, and the Conference on the Security and Cooperation in Europe supported the territorial integrity of Yugoslavia. In June 1991, both Slovenia and Croatia declared independence. The Central Authority reacted to this by moving its army in Slovenia with heavy armor and attacked the Slovenian militia. Slovenian authority declared that a state of war existed and appealed for international assistance. EC and CSE attempted to bring about a ceasefire, but hostility started in Croatia also. The Serbs in Slovenia and Croatia joined with JNA, and Serbia increased its military involvement. The EC took the position that the internal boundaries in Yugoslav Federation should not be altered by force, and if done, such changes would not be recognized. The EC managed to arrange for a ceasefire, monitored by observers in civilian clothes and carrying no arms, and called for a peace conference at The Hague. The conference laid down the following principles as the basis of settlement: no unilateral change of internal boundaries by force, protection of the rights of all in Yugoslavia, and due note to be taken of the legitimate concerns and aspirations of all. The Security Council met in September 1991 and adopted a resolution stating that the fighting in Yugoslavia and its consequences in neighboring states constituted a threat to international peace and security. And the resolution noted the efforts of EC and CSCE to secure peace. The Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 of UN Charter were brought into the picture. The Council appealed to those involved in conflict to observe ceasefire. It called upon all members of the UN to impose an embargo on weapons and military equipment into Yugoslavia. It requested the Secretary General to use his good offices to have the differences resolved. In the final event, the efforts of EC and CSCE in preserving the integrity of Yugoslavia did not succeed. The Security Council did not find the necessary consent to introducing a peacekeeping force forthcoming. In February 1992, the Security Council endorsed the creation of a peacekeeping force, United Nations Protection Force. An advance party of it proceeded in March in the area, but it never became operational. In January 1992, the EC recognized Slovenia and Croatia. This was followed by recognition of Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Macedonia. Serbia claims as the successor state of former Yugoslavia objected to the recognition. The EC imposed certain conditions for recognitions. The desire to become independent must be demonstrated to be in accordance with the people's will, and the new state should undertake to respect human rights and humanitarian law. Even in December 1991, a commission of the EC considered that the Republic of Yugoslavia was in a process of dissolution. In April 1992, Serbia and Montenegro affirmed that they would remain as the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, but the claim to be the successor of old Yugoslavia was disputed by the EC and United States. In Bosnia Herzegovina, there was an agreement that the three main ethnic groups, Muslims, Croats, and Serbs, would be maintained as separate constituent groups, function as such in central organs, but it was later repudiated by the Serbs, and there was outbreak of violence on large scale. Serb military along with JNA units including Air Force gained control over a significant part of the territory. The president of Bosnia-Herzegovina appealed to the EC, CSCE, and United Nations for protection against Serbian aggression. The Security Council met in April 1992 and demanded that all parties to implement the ceasefire and facilitate humanitarian assistance. Due to the ongoing violence, the refugees in the neighboring Croatia reached the figure of 600,000. The Serbs in Bosnia-Herzegovina made a concreted attempt to create an ethnically pure region of Serb. The situation in Bosnia-Herzegovina was such that Security Council met in May 1992 called upon all the parties to stop fighting, demanded the JNA and Croatian forces to stop interfering in the Bosnia-Herzegovina and appealed to all to create conditions under which humanitarian assistance can be extended where needed. The Security Council met in April 1993 and adopted a resolution commending the peace plan agreed to by both the parties. In Bosnia Herzegovina, as reported by the Secretary General, called upon both the parties to observe ceasefire, condemned the violence of international humanitarian law, including the practice of ethnic cleansing, the massive and the systematic detention and rape of women. Acting under Chapter 7 of the Charter, the resolution stated that the measures envisaged in the resolution would come into effect if Bosnia Serbs renewed attacks or did not comply with the peace plan. In May 1993, the Security Council, acting under the Chapter 7 of the Charter, established an International Criminal Tribunal, the International Criminal Tribunal for Yugoslavia, for the trial of war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity. The government of the Netherlands provided facilities at The Hague for the tribunal to function and for the under trial to be kept in custody. There are two views about wisdom of this measure. The first view is that the leaders of the fighting groups will not permit any agreement to be reached if there is a threat that the leaders will be criminally tried. And so the establishment of the tribunal will contribute to the prolongation of the fighting. The second view is that peace is not possible if those who had committed grave crimes go about free and unscathed. Doubtless, the establishment of tribunal will have been deterrent effect and contribute to implementing the principle of accountability of persons for their individual criminal acts. In 1995, Dayton, Ohio peace talks resulted in reaching the General Framework Agreement for Peace (GFA) in Bosnia-Herzegovina. The GFA was the final outcome of several conferences held earlier. The GFA was signed by the representatives of Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina, the Republic of Croatia, and of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, represented by the President of Serbia, Slobodan and Milosevic. In 1998, crisis arose in Kosovo. It had autonomous status under Yugoslavia in the time of Marshal Tito, but that status was repudiated by President Slobodan Milosevic. The Albanian majority in Kosovo, facing discrimination in all fields, rose in insurrection. The Kosovo Liberation Army began to get arms, men, and material from across the Albanian border. The KLA adopted the hit and run tactics. The Siberian response was a large scale attack on ethnic Albanians who left their home and fled to hills. On October 1998, Serbia agreed to the presence of international observers to guarantee that the state police action would not abuse civilians. In January 1999, the contact group with Serbia, consisting of United States, Britain, France, Germany, and the Russian Federation, convened a negotiation conference in France and presented a framework agreement between Albanian and Yugoslav government of Kosovian autonomy. This settlement required Yugoslavia to withdraw its forces from Kosovo, the KLA to lay down their arms, NATO peacekeeping forces to enforce the agreement, and a 3-year period to settle the political future. The Yugoslavian government refused to accept the terms. Then the NATO undertook a 78-day bombing campaign not limited to Kosovo but extending to the whole of the Yugoslavian Federation. The objective was stated to be to avert a humanitarian catastrophe. In June 1999, the Security Council, acting under Chapter 7 of the Charter, required that all military and paramilitary forces to withdraw from Kosovo and authorized NATO military deployment and a UN civil administration to develop provisional institutions for democratic and autonomous self-government under political settlement and holding of elections. The regime was of indefinite duration, though provisionally for 12 months. The NATO took the action without authorization from the Security Council, fearing Russian or Chinese veto in the Security Council. The Yugoslav crisis diffused in the year 2000 when elections were held in Serbia and Montenegro, and Vojislav Estonia won in the presidential election, defeating Slobodan Milosevic. The attempt by Milosevic to call for second round of election failed due to popular uprising in Serbia and Montenegro. Kostunica assumed the presidency of Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, comprising Serbia and Montenegro. The US lifted the sanctions against FRY. FRY applied for membership of UN and was admitted. The United States, France, Germany, and Britain established former diplomatic relations with FRY. Peace building in Kosovo was of high dimension. When the UN mission in Kosovo arrived, they found that there was utter chaos and anarchy. With the presence of UN mission and the international force established by the NATO, refugees who fled to Macedonia and Albania started running. They were nearly 500,000 and they started seizing back their former belongings. They were organized crime and smuggling and attacks on Serbs and non Albanians and trafficking in women. Surpassing all the task of reconstruction, there was the need to establish a basic legal framework. The pre existing law, with necessary corrections, made to ensure the protection of human rights was taken as the starting point. There was also the task of promoting democracy, developing political and professional organizations, and strengthening the mass media. Humanitarian assistance had to be extended to those who lacked food and shelter. It was also necessary to build a market based economy to promote trade, to issue and facilitate circulation of currency and banking. Here we want to wind up this lecture. Thank you so much for your attention.